Hello, welcome everyone. It is FMC. I am Jeremy. That is SP3. It is Tuesday, October 22nd. And SP3, we did it. We survived. We made it. The NBA season officially tips off tonight. The defending champion, but is it the Dave Bautista machine gun right there? That's what it looked like. Yeah. I got a lot of heat. I got a lot of heat for praising Dave Bautista this weekend. So
you did? How did you get heat for that? Come on.
Oh, well, I mean,
Batista ball better than last ride. I agree.
Well, I mean, of course, it got into the wrong realms of the Twitterverse. That's how I got a lot of heat for it. Oh, I had to mute that thing. And it was over. Once it left the wrestling bubble, wrestling fans can be weird, right? We deal with wrestling fans, but that went into the political universe. I'm like, oh, never mind. Oh, this has gotta stop here. This is out of control. Gotta mute this one. So I have no idea what it's at, but yeah, defending Dave Bautista. Batista's way better than the Undertaker. What are we talking? I didn't realize this was a thing.
I jumped off the Undertaker bandwagon when he turned into the Brett Favre of professional wrestling and wouldn't retire. I was just like, oh no, I'm over this. I was literally explaining that to people at Royal Quest. I was like, yeah. He was like, oh yeah, you seen the Undertaker thing? I was like, well, I've been I started my podcasting career as Undertaker's number one op. I was just saying, I was like, I hate this guy. I literally told everybody, I was like, watch him come back at WrestleMania 34. And then he came back. And I had freaking parents in my section get mad at me. It's like, you're ruining it for my child. I was like, he's ruining it for me. I paid all this money to come to New Orleans, and this guy is here. He made people cry in Orlando the year before. And then to see him outside of the ring and how him wearing the Blue Lives Matter shirt, just the Last Ride documentary, and then all his political views, and then crapping all over current modern wrestling. It's just like, I'm glad I'm vindicated. Every time you open your mouth, you vindicate my feelings about you for years.
We're not going to turn this into political. I'm pretty sure we're on the same side on that anyway. I understand if people got fond memories of The Undertaker. Look, I got fond memories of Hulk Hogan. I had a lot of Hulk Hogan merchandise growing up. I'm not afraid to say that. As a kid, Hulk Hogan was a childhood hero. I cried.
I had the Brawling Buddy.
Yeah.
The Brawling Buddy. Yeah.
I cried when Hulk Hogan lost the WCW title and everything. As a kid, you're young, you're naive, you don't understand this kind of stuff. You see this guy on TV, he's like, yeah, Hulk Hogan, take your vitamins, say your prayers, love him. As an adult, I can recognize Hulk Hogan's a racist piece of, I don't want to say it because we're less than 5 minutes in, but he's not Terrence a good person.
I don't even call him Hulk Hogan anymore. He's Terrence from Florida.
Yeah, Florida man. We're 5 minutes in. I don't want to curse and get us demonetized immediately. But I can recognize that this man ain't the best person in the world. Okay, it doesn't take away from the memories I had as a kid. Sure, childhood me loved Hulk Hogan. Adult me, I don't like the dude. I can say that. It's okay to say that. It doesn't take away the memories that we have as these wrestlers, as children. But also, we gotta face the realities of 2024. And the growing as adults and as humans. Undertaker's a different story because I don't even have good memories of him as a kid. I didn't like Undertaker. I was a Sting guy. I think everybody knows that. When he feuded with Austin, I was an Austin guy. So I don't even have these fond memories of oh, Undertaker, yeah, go. I can't wait to see this dead man do some stuff. I don't even have great memories of him. And then, kind of as you said, he didn't retire. He couldn't retire. It's like, oh, great, here comes the Undertaker. There's another long walk to the ring. That was the one that popped the people the most. Of Batista walks for miles inside a pit of danger, and Undertaker walks effing slow. People all right, you got me on that one. It took me 5 minutes to put that thing together, and all that $10 that I'm gonna get off of Elon, it will be well worth it. Go to McDonald's, get myself something nice, treat myself. I gotta go to Wendy's. I gotta go to Wendy's and get the Krabby Patty meal. That's something I still need to do. I'm looking forward to that.
Love it.
How's your weekend, SP3? We don't talk too much wrestling here, but I know you had a busy weekend in the world of wrestling.
Yes, I went to NJPW's Royal Quest show at the Crystal Palace. Good time. I got to meet Kieran in person, got to meet Sanal in person, got to meet a bunch of people. I actually got stopped by someone who watches my content. Shout out,
Nice.
I think his name was Bradley, and he was like he was legitimately like nervous to like stop me. I was like, don't be. I'm just a regular. I don't usually get this stuff. You stand out to me because he was like, I love your content because I rarely hear someone on a wrestling podcast that actually knows what they're talking about, and you're very analytical. And I was like, oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. You want to take a picture? I felt like Paperboy in episode of Atlanta Woods when he finally accepts that he's Paperboy and he's a rapper, and he tells the kid in the store who stops him and be like, oh, you're Paperboy, and he tells him, oh, take the picture and do it. Oh, you want a couple more? That's how I felt with this guy when I was just like, you want to take a picture? He was like, yeah. I was nervous to ask. I was like, yeah, come on, let's do it. Let's go. And then when I got to my seat, someone else was like, you're SP3. I was like, yes, I am. I think I gave him a pound. So that was cool. It was cool. And then I got to meet Zack Sabre Jr. and TMDK, Mina Shirakawa, and the legend Taka Michinoku. I don't think he understood a word I was saying, but I was like, man, you're my idol. Choppy choppy pee.
I saw you post some photos. I'm glad you had a good time. It was a good show. Yeah. The Royal Quest. Obviously, Zack Sabre coming home. He was at the Rev Pro show the day before, but coming home and at a New Japan show with the title was a big moment. So glad you had a good time. All right, let's get into the hoops. We're back, officially back tonight. Your Lakers play against the Timberwolves. Why they don't have one of the, I guess the Timberwolves are in the Western Conference Finals. Why the Lakers are on opening night, I don't know, but sure. A little strange that, I mean, I get it. It's LeBron. I get it. I know.
Why are you acting like this is a shocker to you? We've been on the opening night for like what? How many years in a row?
I feel like they should have been playing the Mavericks. Am I wrong in saying that they should be playing the Mavericks instead of the Timberwolves?
I mean, I don't necessarily think so. I think that us versus Timberwolves is going to be a good matchup. Anthony Edwards, after watching Starting Five, I've only got through I think the first 3 episodes of Starting Five on Netflix. He's going up there as far as my favorite players in the league right now. He's just so likable. He has a very kind of like charming personality, and learning about his like family life and losing his mother, being raised by his sister and stuff like that, seeing him with his family during the holidays, and him literally as his family's like cooking and trying to wait for him to eat, he's playing video games in a room. His baby mom is behind him. Wait, it's like, are you done yet? I was like, I love this guy. He's a guy after my own heart. So I really been enjoying Starting Five because of Anthony Edwards, and of course LeBron's on that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup. Like I said last week, I think the Timberwolves are going to be a lot better than we think following the Karl Anthony Towns trade. I think defensively and just about the team kind of really focusing on Anthony Edwards on the offensive side of the ball. Watching the Lakers in the preseason might have changed my opinion from last week. Last week I had them in the 8th spot. I would not be surprised if they were out, if they actually made the playoffs and were not in the play. Like, because I watched them and
Who are they jumping?
Who did I have? I had I think they could hop the Pelicans. Okay. I think they could be better than the Pelicans. I just really like the offense that JJ Redick is running, and the fact that he's making Anthony Davis a passer at the top of the key and running a lot of screen and rolls. There's a lot more movement on our offense. And then also I've been watching kind of like tape and a breakdown of last season, and I've really come to the fact that Darvin Ham was not a good coach. Like I'm always looking out for my brothers, especially coaches. Black coaches is very rare, so I always try to be on the positive side with black coaches. But Darvin Ham was an idiot. Like the starting 5 that made the conference finals the year prior, he did not play them at all together, at all. Like that. That was like when I saw a breakdown. I think it was Wu Songs or Kenny Wu or something like that. No, that's the guy from Mighty Ducks. I'm sorry. But it was a channel that broke it down. It was like, why didn't Darvin Ham just play the starting five of Reeves, Russell, Vanderbilt, Davis, and James? He never played them that whole entire season before Vanderbilt got injured for the rest of the year and got that foot injury. Like that, I was like, I didn't even realize that. Like I kept hearing the news that, oh yeah, he's gonna start them this week, and then he wouldn't start them. Like he kept going to homeboy. I forgot the homeboy's name because he's not worth my time to remember. But man, I was just like, yeah, it was a coaching problem. I think that getting JJ Redick, despite his inexperience as a head coach, I like the way he's running the offense. I like the way that we're playing and our defensive designs. Our movement off the ball is a lot better. I think that the Lakers could be good, but it all depends on the rest of the teams in the Western Conference where they're kind of pan out at the end of the day.
I don't like putting a whole lot of stock into preseason. I've watched a little bit of the Lakers, and it's largely been highlights. I'm not gonna pretend like I watch a bunch of preseason games or anything. I have liked some of the stuff I've seen from the highlights. Again, I don't like putting stock into preseason too much because at the end of the day, like it is preseason, and obviously teams, especially defensively, aren't gonna show a whole lot defensively, and offensively, like you're gonna work on different things. But when the actual games start and when teams really lock in on the defensive side and when things don't exactly go right on the offensive side, then you see players kind of revert to old habits. And this isn't a knock on LeBron or Anthony Davis. This is the reality of they've been in the league for a very long time and they just do what they do in the league. And I'm not saying they can't change, but how many years have we talked about LeBron? Oh, yeah, LeBron's going to be a screener. Oh, LeBron doesn't want the ball in his hands. And then the season starts and LeBron's got to have the ball in his hands. How many years of, oh, Davis, you just got to play him at the 5, play him at the 5. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll play at the 5. And then the season starts and Davis like, nope, don't want to play at the 5 at all. It's easy to talk and say these things and show these things in preseason. And then when the games actually start, all this stuff goes out the window. It's just it completely erased, especially with the veteran guys. And again, it's not a knock on them, but they're kind of just set in their ways, and it's tough to adapt. It's very tough to adapt when it comes to these guys. So I don't want to try to throw water on your hope for the Lakers when it comes to them in the regular season based on preseason, because I do think JJ Redick, he's a smart guy. We don't know how he is as a coach. He's literally never been a coach. But I watched his podcast that lasted a whole like 3 episodes with LeBron. It was really good. Like, it was really
riveting. Yeah.
Yeah.
He makes like the X's and O's of basketball sound so fascinating. And I think that he'll have that kind of new coach smell to him, new car smell to him. With him starting off with the Lakers. And I think that he'll have the guys listening to him. And I think he has the guys respect that Darvin Ham, even though Darvin Ham was a former player, I think that JJ Redick, despite not accomplishing a lot in the NBA, I think because of his college achievements and then him being a very kind of one of the better 3-point shooters during his time in the NBA, I think he's going to have that respect from the team, and especially with this relationship with LeBron James. I think it's going to be a good start to the season. I like Dalton Kinetic. I think he was playing well in the preseason. He was making some big shots and stuff like that. I think that kind of stuff with the younger players, what they're doing in the preseason, will translate well in the regular season. Yes, the defense is going to be up, but they're not going to be paying attention to him when AD and LeBron is on the court. So I think he's going to get a lot of good looks at the basket, and he can make a difference for the team. So I have hope. I still think that we're going to end up 7 or 8 in a play-in, but I think that we're only need one play-in win at the end of the season. At the least, I think that we can be a playoff team. I'm a little bit more confident than I was last week.
I think the Lakers, obviously, depending on where they're at in the standings come the trade deadline or before the trade deadline, they're definitely a team that is very likely to make a move as well, because they didn't do much last year. And I mean, look where they ended up last year. They in the play-in after they made the moves the previous year and ended up going to the conference finals. Last year they didn't make any moves and they ended up in the play-in and losing in the first round again against the Nuggets. But the pressure is definitely going to be on with LeBron. And LeBron potentially last season, I think he plays another season after this, but potentially you're only getting another year or two out of LeBron. There's going to be a lot of pressure to really deliver a team that can try to win another title in LeBron's final couple of years here. So I think they're always a team to kind of keep an eye on of like when it comes to trades, because that's any LeBron James team, unless they're really good. LeBron wants everybody to be traded. But this season, even more apparent of, LeBron's probably going to facilitate some things if the team ain't going in the right direction. So I don't know if this Lakers team is going to be the Lakers team we see 6 months from now.
I don't suspect that. I think that we'll at least try to make a deal during the trade deadline. But the more the matchup tonight that's going to be the one to look forward to is the first game, Boston Celtics, the reigning NBA champions, versus the New York Knicks. As we talked about last week, we both got these teams in the conference finals for the Eastern Conference. The Knicks has got a lot of buzz in the New York area. Everybody's talking about the Knicks. It's a good time to be a New York sports fan because the Yankees made it to the World Series. So now it's on the Knicks to get to the NBA Finals. Can they get back for the first time since 1999? And they'll start it off first in the NBA champions. I think this is going to be a nice little kind of first game for the Knicks to kind of show what they're going to do. I don't think they're going to be off the bat the team that we're going to see, like you said, with the Lakers. It's not going to be the same team that we see in like a month from now, even 2 months from now, because they're going to have that chemistry for a while. But it's good to have a good look at them when they're facing the NBA champions.
This is going to come back to bite me. I'm going to look really stupid a week from now. I don't think this Celtics-Knicks game is going to be close tonight.
Okay.
I think the Celtics it might be close in that, like, okay, they win by like 6, 7, like let's say 8 to 10. I don't know if you consider 8 to 10 points close. I don't feel like it's going to be as close as people hope it's going to be. And I don't think that's indicative of, the Knicks don't have it, or, the Celtics are just going to run through the competition again. I said it on our preview show. I said it after the trade when they traded for Karl Anthony Towns. Teams that make these moves, like to start the season this close to the start of the season, it takes a little bit while to kind of gel. Even teams that don't make these moves, like they make them in the off season or early in the off season. It's still, this is their first real game playing together. It still takes a while to come together. The most famous example I could give is the Heatles. When the Heatles got together, that was obviously early in the offseason. What happened their first game against Boston? They lost. Another big one, the Warriors, when they got Kevin Durant, what happened their first game against the Spurs? They lost. Like when you make big changes like this, it takes a little bit while to come together. They not only made big changes, like they revamped their entire team. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson are about the only people who are still together from the team last year. I know OG is there, but like OG,
but he came in made the trade deadline basically last season.
Yeah, and he missed some playoff time, and then the rest of the team is completely revamped with Bridges and Towns, and trading out DiVincenzo, trading out Julius Randle. Like they revamped a lot of this team. Boston, on the other hand, not only did they win the title last year, but they brought back just about everybody. Like they didn't make any sweeping changes. They didn't bring anybody in new who they have to try to fit in. They didn't lose anybody of like, we got to replace this guy. Like they're running back the same team that I know people are like, they had an easy path to the finals and everything. Maybe they did. They certainly caught some injury breaks and everything. they still beat the teams that were in front of them. And they beat them. Yeah. Some of the games were competitive. The series weren't competitive at all. They ran through all of these teams, and they ran through a lot of teams in the regular season as well. So I think it'll take a little while for the Knicks to gel. And whereas Boston, they're gonna go out there and they're gonna play how they always play. And I think that's gonna really overwhelm the Knicks. Maybe the Knicks have enough talent to make things competitive. What you see from the Knicks tonight, I don't think is gonna be indicative of what we're gonna see from the Knicks all season, though. And look, if the Knicks have a good showing tonight, I think that should give the Knicks fans even more hope as the rest of the season moves on. And I think if they have a bad showing tonight, I think Knicks fans, they'll probably overreact, but I think they should probably not overreact and just be like, all right, you know what? First game, it's going to happen. Now, the Lakers and the Timberwolves game, a little bit similar in that, the Timberwolves made the big changes as well. The Lakers, they made coaching changes, but the overall team didn't change a whole lot. So I think that the Lakers are in a good position to win tonight. But again, I don't think tonight is indicative of what we're going to see throughout the entire season.
That's fair. I do agree. I do agree with you there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to both games. I'll probably watch some of the Celtics and Knicks before I go to bed, and then I'll watch the Lakers and Timberwolves when I wake up. I'll have a tape for me and send to me so I can watch that when I get up from in the morning and have to work. So looking forward to NBA tip-off. Always a fun time. The NBA tip-off feel. I like the fact that now with the in-season tournament, you get that kind of feeling out for like a good couple of months, because usually it would be NBA tip-off week, and then we can kind of lay off the NBA until Christmas Day. Now you got NBA tip-off week, then you got the in-season tournament, then you got Christmas Day to kind of get you into the NBA swing of things.
Thunder not playing on Christmas Day because the league, for some reason, hates Oklahoma City.
Oh, man, I wonder if the Lakers are playing. Oh, yeah, they are. They always
play. Of course. Of course.
Even when we were bad some years after Kobe left, we would still play on Christmas Day.
Still played, yeah. Still got a Christmas Day game because you got to have the Lakers there. Not the number one seed. Not the number one seed in the West. Not with a potential MVP candidate. Hope Isaiah Hartenstein heals well and quickly. That's one thing that did put a little damper on opening week for me. It's like, oh man, our big free agent signing is now not going to be healthy until like late November, early December. So it's like, that's unfortunate. Like, I'm still looking forward to see how the team performs without him. But now our center rotation is just back to being basically Chet's, because Jalen Williams is hurt as well. And it's like, oh, well, we have no bigs right now. This ain't looking good when our first matchup is against Jokic. But we shall see how it goes. It's a long regular season. Like, it's 82 games. It gets very long. And without a pretty pivotal piece in our rotation, I'm like, okay, like when Hartenstein comes back, then my excitement will increase a little bit more, and hopefully, we'll be near the top and doing well when the playoffs roll around. And obviously, I'll be excited for the playoffs. But we face the Nuggets.
What other games are you looking forward to this week?
I was looking forward to Milwaukee and Philadelphia until Middleton is out and Paul George might be out. And it's like, all right, great. Like, it's still like a good game with Maxey and Embiid and Giannis and Dame, but they're missing, whether you consider them the 2 or the 3 guys, like they're missing those guys. So I'm looking less forward to that game now. As I look at the schedule, I am curious to see what Phoenix looks like with Budenholzer as the coach. The Clippers aren't exactly a super formidable first opponent, especially with no Kawhi.
James Harden led Clippers.
Yeah. I think Chicago and New Orleans. I'm interested in New Orleans this year. When we did our preview last week, I was pretty high on New Orleans. So I'm interested to see what they look like. Chicago, I'm just curious about because Giddey is a guy that obviously I follow through his OKC career, and I had high expectations for him in OKC. I want to see kind of what that looks like in Chicago. And look, San Antonio, Dallas on Thursday. I think the Thursday night, there's a couple of good games. OKC obviously tips off on Thursday as well, but Minnesota, Sacramento is also on Thursday. Like there's some good games on Thursday that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I like the Mavs and Spurs, Lakers and Suns. I'm looking forward to that one as well. And yeah, looking at the rest of the schedule, Mavs and Suns should be a good one. Lakers and Kings, I kind of have them in that bottom half of the West, so that should be an interesting game to watch. But yeah, the Bucks and Sixers is probably like my number one after opening night, but yeah, that takes a little bit of a damper knowing that Middleton and Paul George won't be there. And I was looking forward to a couple of the Clippers games, but hate to say it, guys.
I don't hate
to say it. I love to say it. Kawhi Leonard is who I thought he was.
I'm looking forward to the Clippers games because OKC's got that not number one, but first round unprotected pick. It's a pick swap technically, but it's a unprotected. So no matter where it's at, we can just swap and be like, hey, yeah, you take our hopefully, 29th, 30th overall pick, and we get your hopefully lottery pick. So I'm looking forward to the Clippers and hopefully watching them lose because that lottery pick could be very good, very, very good.
That is true. And yes, remorse betrayal. That's another reason why I hate Darvin Ham. Is because I think like all last season, outside like one time,
yeah, there wasn't
any service.
No,
there was nothing to do a servant about. Like we
just
so inconsistent because this man would not start the damn starters that got us to the Western Conference Finals.
Just the play-in, or not the play-in, the in-season tournament. That was like it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. After that, I think we lost like 5 of our next 6. And then it was so inconsistent the rest of the year that there was nothing for me to really do a sermon about. So I'm hoping Pastor JJ will allow me to do some sermons for y'all here on FMC.
All right. Anything else from the NBA season tip-off week? Last season of Inside the NBA, at least for now. Maybe they come to some type of agreement for next season. Don't know how it's going to work. It's going to be kind of fascinating to follow throughout the year because if this is the last season, they know it's the last season. They're already unhinged and like a little bit like they don't care. It's like they're coasting on the reputation, right? You don't watch Inside the NBA for like great basketball analysis because it's not.
It's not. It's not for that. It's for the banter between Charles and Shaq. How wrong Charles is about certain stuff, and then the only basketball analysis that you really get is Kenny Smith.
Yeah,
and even that, it's more about him running to the board and beating Shaq or Charles to the board before he breaks everything down.
Yeah, it's a show that is based on the personalities, not the insight. And look, it's great. The personalities are fantastic. Like Charles, Shaq, and Kenny are great in holding things together. But it's not a show that's going to provide a ton of insight. But them, like, already with their not caring when it comes to the insight, and then just being like, yeah, all right, let's do whatever we want here. It's our last year. What are they going to do? What are they going to do to us? Could provide for some very, very memorable moments. Very memorable moments. So I'm looking forward to that, of how Inside the NBA and how those guys act. Because I feel like, and maybe I'll be wrong, I feel like for the first little bit, they might be on like okay behavior, just in hopes of like, okay, like maybe we can work something out. Maybe so we can get picked up for next season. Maybe somebody else. Like, you know what you're gonna get regardless. But you know, we don't want to completely burn a bridge here.
Yeah.
And then as the
they'll
season
be like that. They'll be like
and then
that
as the season goes on, then as the season goes on, it's gonna be like, all right, well, whether they're leaving TNT or like as it becomes more known that they might be leaving TNT and Turner, it might be like, all right, well, forget it, we're out of here. Let's do what we can. I said I compared it to when Conan was leaving NBC, like that final week where he was like smashing cars and let's play a Rolling Stones song and all of that. Like it's like this is gonna cost NBC $3.2 million. Like I'm leaving after this week. I don't care. Like that's how I feel that the TNT crew is going to be.
So this is David Zaslav's problem. We don't care. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I think by January we're going to see a more unhinged inside the NBA.
I'm very much looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to it. All right, let's bring on our pal, Cher Delaware. We got a lot to talk about in the world of reality television. Hello, Cher. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well.
Wonderful.
All right, where do we start with this? You guys want to start the challenge? We're 2 weeks behind on the challenge because last week was our NBA season preview. So now I got to remember what happened.
There might be more for us to discuss from Love is Blind. So I don't know if we want to start with that or you want to end with that.
Yeah, let's end with Love is Blind because I feel like we got a lot to say about Love is Blind. I actually have some things to say about certain people. So let's go back to the challenge from 2 weeks ago at this point. SP3, hopefully your memory is always better than mine when it comes to this.
That's the Derek elimination.
Okay. So yeah, I remember that. Okay. So I'm not too certain. So who was it that won the elimination that we went into? I think it was that was the one where Michelle and Kylan beat Darrell and Tina. Yeah. Because Darrell wanted to write in the sand. So Michelle and Kylan, they came back. I don't really remember like all the mishmash before the challenge. I do remember the daily challenge was basically based on the Gladiator. And it was a Gladiator challenge where they had shields and you basically had to push the members of the opposing teams off of this platform, and whoever had it, and what was specified to me through various social medias and various interviews that went on, it was the team with the highest percentage or the team with the least percentage that basically were the losing team, and the team with the highest percentage was the winning team. So yes, even though they had two members, Error One did have a chance to win if Derek did not fall off, but Derek has a broken leg, so he did fall off.
That was dirty for Arrow One. Like they got two people. There's no way they were about to win.
I said in the chat when I was watching it, like they should have just been like, nah, we're
just
like we know we're gonna lose. Like
save yourself.
Derek's out there hopping around with one leg. There was no way. I mean, yeah.
He was like an old man, like. But yeah, he got knocked off. A lot of like the hard hitting came from Corey in this one, where Corey was just pushing people, and he was banging up against Theo. He felt like he was on a football field. Like I think that he really forgot that this is the challenge and not a football field, because he was just going ham, even after Derek, which Derek got offended by, but Corey felt like he was the one that was more offended by all of that when he got called out for it.
When Corey got in Derek's face afterwards, I was like, I would not do that. Like, he's going to whoop you with one leg, sir. I would not do that right now. Like, oh my
God. Corey will sometimes show some fire, and sometimes it feels like it comes off a little fake and everything. But this felt a little like, okay, he's actually good on him.
I feel like
good on him for stepping
Corey
up
shows
and showing
the fire. He shows the fire towards the wrong things.
My internet's
Like, instead of showing the fire in the middle of the competition or whatever, like, he gets pissed off, like, afterwards and wants to go after people afterward. Like, you need to direct your energy in towards your competition that you're competing in, not towards the people that you're getting pissed off at afterwards. This is why he never gets very far, is because he just has to mouth off constantly and get in everybody's face, and then they're like, get him out of here. Like, he just can't shut up.
My biggest issue with Corey, and I'm gonna compliment Corey a lot from this episode. I would even argue he was the MVP of this particular episode. But my issue with Corey is that no one says you're one of the best players. Literally, the only person who always tells us you're one of the best players is you. Like, you'd always say, I'm one of the better players here, so I don't think anybody was like, dude, shut up. Shut up. You don't need to be, you're overcompensating. You're over-explaining. Like, stop. Just play your game. Like, you were actually good in this episode, but I had to hear you not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 different times in confessionals, in the deliberation, multiple times. You said, like, oh, I'm one of the best players. I have my bronze medal, I have my silver medal. I just don't have my gold medal yet. Like, oh, God, you're annoying. You are so annoying. Just win something. Win something, and then you could talk. Or shut up. But during the daily challenge, I think it was Devin tried to get Theo to team up with Corey and them take out Era 2, but Theo had already made a deal with Derek. That's what happened after the last elimination. He made a deal with him that they were going to work together because Era 2 and Era 3, they believed, were working together because Derek and Kara were the targets for Era 2, and Era 3 it was Avery and Corey. So Avery has that strong relationship with Derek, or so we thought. So they thought that they were working together. So that's where Theo made his deal with Derek. But Theo, I will give him credit. Theo and Jenny, they played the best political game in this episode because they rocked their team to sleep. We'll get into that. But in the end, then on the women's side, it was kind of it was kind of nondescript. They kind of teased that we were going to see like a showdown and going head to head with Kara and Tori. And then Kara realized that Tori's too damn big. So she was calling Laurel for help. Like, Laurel, help me, please.
And Laurel did help her.
She did. They let aside their little issues and they stayed on. Rachel stayed on the platform. She didn't go in, but still, Era won. Bitch. We're gonna get into that. She might have won MVP for the season in the next episode we'll talk about. But so the winners were Era 4. So Era 4 were in charge of picking between Era 2 and Era 3 of who was gonna go in against Era 1, Derek and Rachel. So when we go to the deliberation, basically it was like Theo and Jenny had already kind of made their decision. That they were going to throw in Era, because, Theo has a good relationship with Kara. Jenny has already established that her only alliance is Bananas, who's on Era 2. So, she wasn't going to pick Era 2. Theo wasn't going to pick Era 2 because of his relationship with Kara, and they wanted to get out, the team that is going to be competing with Era 4 the most as far as winning the challenges. It's been either Era 3 or Era 4 that's been winning all of them, so they wanted to weaken them. And also, it was the fact that Rachel, apparently, but this is what Derek said, Derek says that he thinks that the best chance that Rachel had to win this elimination was to go against Avery and not Kara. So he doesn't mind, them. If it's up to them, they want to go against Era 3. And Corey's getting all big and bad, puffing up his shit. Oh, you want to go against me in the eliminations? Like, yeah. Derek was like, I got one leg. I want all the smoke.
Derek was ready to fight him during the daily. Like, I don't think Derek is afraid on this. Like, you're kind of trying to intimidate the wrong guy when you literally got into it with him. Like, Derek would have looked weak if he's like, no, I don't want to go against you after talking shit during the daily. So
my thing too with Corey is like I said before, just shut up. Like, now they really want to go against you because you can't quit running your mouth. Like, and then you're mad because you get put down there. Sometimes you just got to be quiet. Now, you don't, like the next episode, you don't have to pretend like you're in an invisible alliance with somebody like Casey. Like, we have an unspoken alliance. I mean, we have an alliance. And Rachel's like, what the hell is this alliance? Like, yeah, like you don't have to do that. But sometimes it's okay to just be a background character. Like, sometimes in certain positions, you just gotta be quiet. Like, it's okay. It's okay sometimes. And then we'll talk about the elimination where he should have smoked him and did not.
Did not. But yeah, we go back to the house after the deliberation, and basically Theo and Jenny had already made up their mind, but they did the strategic thing of they wanted to take some of the heat off of themselves. So they went to their team. They let them know, like, this is what we think. We think that we should vote in Era 3 because they are the team that would be competing with us the most. And, eliminating, the other team doesn't really do anything to them. For Theo, he's potentially taken away a strong male in Corey. And they're weakening the team that's going to compete with them the most. And pretty much all the team was just like, all right, cool, whatever you want to do, it's fine with us, except for Michelle and Kylan, who were just like, guys, we have an alliance with Era 3. Like, if Era 3 wins, we're protected. Then when we win, we should be protecting Era 3. Even though Josh and Jenny already ruined that alliance just a couple of episodes prior. So what are you even talking about, Michelle? What did you think? You think this is gonna work? Because you would think that, okay, Josh, you let down Corey in the last episode when you let Bananas manipulate you. But when he's given an option to vote against things and they could have swung this around and made Theo and Jenny look bad, no, they just played into Theo and Jenny's hand where both Josh and Casey the fucking couch, just didn't say a goddamn thing. And Josh is just like, yeah, guys, whatever you guys want to do, I'm fine with. I'm not going to try to give Corey a pound when he wins the elimination again, but he did just that.
But he was
Josh is worthless.
Listen, I think, I mean, we all hate the Vacation Alliance, so like that's fine anyway. But going after Era 3 was smart here. Era 3 and Era 4 have the most people. You want to get rid of some of their people. Like Era 1's 2 people. Era 2's lost a bunch of people. And they've got Derek and Ryan, who are basically useless. It's like
they have two less people already.
Yes. So, and Aviv. So it's like, you want to go after them. I'm sorry that your alliance is 75 people large, but we can't just continue to protect them the whole time. And I think that this is so funny. You brought up Casey not saying anything and Josh not saying anything. And then Corey gets mad, like, shocker, Corey gets upset. But the next episode, then we see them all blame Josh for when people from the Vacation Alliance get voted in. And I'm like, okay, why didn't anybody blame Casey this episode?
Exactly.
Why wasn't anybody mad at Casey? It's always like Josh is their freaking whipping boy. They all blame Josh for everything. Anytime something goes wrong, Josh's fault. Like,
he carries the bags on the vacation. Like, he's the bag boy.
He doesn't actually get to hang out with them. He just has to like stand 20 feet behind them carrying everything. And they probably make him pay too. Like, he has to pay for everybody to go and doesn't get to hang out with them on their vacations. I'm like, why is everything always Josh's fault? Always. Yeah. Like, and I don't even like Josh. But
it was not the next episode was not Josh's fault. This one, I do understand why Corey is mad at it.
Yes,
because
he
if he's supposed to be your friend, he should have said something
too.
Yeah, but I don't think that Corey is as close to Casey as he is to Josh. Like we see in the clips with him and Josh, and I understand why like Devin was upset when he learned everything that went down in the little Era 4, conversation from Michelle. Mm-hmm. Why he was just like,
Who was the Era 3 female going with Corey?
Avery.
Okay, I couldn't remember. So
I mean, we won't remember her at the end of the season. That's true.
That's true. Yeah, that's fairly true here. But I'm just like, Corey was already mad because he'd got sent up there by Michelle. Like, he was already butthurt. And then he went in, and it's just like, just do it. Just put your head down and do it. Because if you keep bitching, they're gonna keep putting you in. So just be quiet. Just be quiet. It's okay. Like, he irritates my soul anyway. Like, he's as annoying to me as Josh is right now. But continue on, because I want to talk about the next episode.
Yeah,
freaking Casey.
The elimination was basically another gladiator elimination, but this time it was like a boxing gladiator. It was a boxing gladiator elimination where they had like these little small pallets, and they were wearing like a whole bunch of stuff. And there's a person who is the striker and someone who's the evader. So the person who's the striker wears a blindfold, and they got boxing gloves on. The person who's the evader has like all this equipment with all these little like basically it's like paint pallets stuff that they have to like punch
them,
off.
they explode.
Yeah, you punch them and they explode, and they get to move around, and they don't have a blindfold on, but they're also wearing like squeaky shoes, and they have a whole bunch of bells on them, so the person who is the striker can find them and hear where they're at. So it was Rachel versus Avery, and I was wrong. I will remember Avery getting knocked the fuck out.
Oh, the editing was so good with this too. The slow motion shots, especially when they showed her like getting punched in the face and everything. Oh, Go ahead.
When Rachel talked about how she took, what was it, karate or jujitsu, whatever it was that she said she took, I'm like, that's not surprising. Even if Rachel hadn't taken those things, I would not want to step in there with her. Have you seen that bitch's traps? Her, like, oh my God, she's got freaking Batista traps over there. Like, ain't no way I want to step in there with her.
It was
she
not
got in there and rocked her world. Oh my God.
It was not only that, it was Avery seemed like she just had no idea how to play.
She would just stand there and get the shit beat out of her. I'm like, what are you doing?
She's like, oh, let me like, kind of cover up.
But no, she didn't even cover up.
She didn't move at all. Like, it's like there's a whole boxing ring. She can't see you. She has to be able to reach you to hit you. You should probably try to move a little bit. And instead, no, it's just like, let me stand here. And yeah, as we did, like she really didn't cover up. Like she pretended to kind of cover up. But
they would all be like, why are your hands not in front of your face?
Like, what are you doing over here? And then, yeah, once they switched, Rachel knew of like, hey, I should probably just move.
She just ran in a circle.
Just circle around the ring. Yeah. And then, Avery was just kind of like swiping and everything. Like she, of course, like got some targets because
she did all right, but
Rachel
got all of the targets.
Yeah,
she got all of them, and Avery missed six of them. So Rachel easily won that one. The more competitive and interesting of the two was Corey and Derek. And Derek came in with the disadvantage because he's basically on one leg the whole time that he's the invader. He has to basically hold on to the ropes. So he's like ducking and dodging, getting down and moving, but he's just hopping around on one leg. So Corey is just lighting him up, getting all the targets and stuff, and he does it in a good amount of time because it's not only getting all the targets, but who did it the fastest. Because when Derek does really good. Even though he's on one leg, he's able to like catch Corey. I think Corey had like the best technique for this because he was treating it like it was a boxing match. Like he kept them in a corner. He was holding them with one hand and lighting them up with the other hand. Well, Derek did have a good technique himself where he was just swiping. He was just swiping and getting a bunch of them at once. And he was able to get all the targets as well. But Corey was the one who got it in the faster amount of time. And I love the moment at the end of Derek's part where Derek did so well, and Corey, comes over to him and he's like, "Yo, thank you so much." He was like, all that happened. That's water under the bridge. Basically, he was like, "You came in here and you worked like a warrior."
It was so just like MMA and like legit boxing of, oh, let's spend months trash talking each other and then getting each other's faces at the weigh-ins and take all these personal shots, and then you fight each other and somebody wins, somebody loses. Like, oh, thank you so much. Like it's like we shared the octagon together, and now there's this mutual respect between each other. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. This all checks out.
I want to ask you guys' opinion here. If Derek had 2 working legs, do you think he would have won?
Yeah,
I think he would have easily won if he could have moved out from everything.
Yeah, I think he would have been able to evade a whole lot better.
The fact that he barely beat Derek when he had 1 leg and was hopping around that ring, good for him. He won. But he was like bragging about it on social media like he had this big accomplishment. And I'm like, dude, he had 1 leg. Yeah. Everyone has talked about how it was so much worse than we even knew. Jeremy saw him months after he got home, and he was still in a leg brace. Didn't you say?
He was hobbling.
He probably had to have surgery.
Yeah, he was hobbling through the hotel and everything in a giant brace when I saw him. Yeah, that was August of this year. So it seemed like it wasn't great.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one who felt like if we had 2 working legs, Derek, he would have lit him up. And Derek still did really well. Yeah. But he definitely would have won.
This is like the MO of Derek's career, because even when he loses, he still wins. It's so many times, going from him and Wes in the pole wrestle, in the duel, that created a legend for him. Him losing in the gauntlet 2 after winning 4 eliminations. Anytime he loses, he still wins, because it just creates this kind of more of this legacy and legend for Derek as one of the greatest elimination players in challenge history. And this was another example of it, being on 1 leg and only barely losing.
I think Derek is the example of when they say somebody has that dog in them. That is is Derek.
Yeah.
He does not care. He's always ready to go in there and compete. And that's he's fun to watch compete too. That's what I like about him.
Yeah, there's 100%. Never a boring Derek elimination. Any elimination he's in, it feels like you're definitely getting the best out of him and the best out of his opponent. It feels like he's always in some
pull the best out of the opponent too.
Yeah. And it feels like he's always in some type of, I guess the Jax pickup one wasn't a physical elimination, but even that had some drama and everything earlier in the season. But every Derek elimination, whether it's physical or not, it always lives up to the hype. He always performs, and the opponent always performs as well.
Yep.
Very true. So the winners were Corey and Rachel. So they still had to pick targets, despite Rachel not having anyone else on her team. They still were doing targets. Still were doing the era competition. It was just what are we doing?
Real quickly,
started with era 4 this time.
Yeah, they did have to change it real quickly. When TJ is still picking targets, and TJ's solo mission, the way he said it of you tell him, TJ, it's now a solo mission for Rachel. He sold it as this big grandiose thing. It was amazing.
Solo mission for you. So I think who was era 4 targets? I forget.
Era 4 was Kyland and Jenny, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right. Kylan and Jenny, and then it was Devin
Casey. Sorry, it was Casey.
Casey.
Yeah,
Kylan and Casey, and then it was Devin and Tori.
Volunteered.
Yeah,
everybody volunteered except Laurel. She was the only person that didn't.
Yeah, Devin and Tori, and then Ryan volunteered, and everyone was like, "Are you feeling okay? Are we sure about this?" Yeah, and Laurel did
it
not.
It was because Corey picked Laurel, so Ryan was like, "Oh, Laurel's gonna try."
Yeah, honestly,
Well,
a great theory of like Laurel's gonna try. She ain't throwing this one, so yeah,
and
might as well
that's
volunteer.
pretty much what he said too. He was doing
Yeah.
it because of Laurel and because of Rachel. Because then if he won, he was going to make sure Rachel didn't have to go in. And I was like, that was actually very strategic and smart to go Laurel as your partner. And because like if it was Aviv, ain't no way I'm volunteering to go up there. Nope, I'm gonna stay right here. So I thought, yeah, Laurel almost volunteered, and Bananas was going, don't volunteer.
Yeah, volunteer.
And that was the only reason that she didn't. Like, but every single other person volunteered, and I was like, that's good to see. Like, good to see people actually be like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I was shocked.
And of course, Rachel was the target for her team, so that led into the
Solo
next
mission.
Solo mission. That led into the next episode where I don't remember much of the talk before the mission. I just remember the mission itself was basically, it was first this math thing where they would put up a whole bunch of math equations and you had to put the correct answer for the corresponding letter that the math. So it would be like A equals this math equation.
But the equations were only up for like 5 seconds. They were just scrolling through. Yeah. So an equation would come up and you had to try to figure it out. Rachel, once again, at a disadvantage because Rachel had to do it all by herself. And the other teams had multiple people who could be working on a problem while the next one was coming up. So Rachel only got like 6.
But Laurel has gotten 100 on every math class she's ever been in.
It's just numbers. It's just adding and subtracting.
I was like, you're such a liar. You're such a liar. No one has ever gotten all 100s in every math class and then become a veterinarian. I'm sorry.
Like,
I know.
Be an accountant.
Einstein.
I know. I just froze when you were saying this. I laughed so hard when she's like, I've gotten 100% on every single math test, including calculus. I'm like, 100%, literally 100%. Is that what
really
want
to contact her old teacher.
Yeah, contact her high school.
Like, I am doing a research project and I need some information.
You didn't miss.
You are such a liar. Like,
you didn't miss a single question. Like, all right, fine. If you got an A on every single one, like, I can believe that because Laurel, it does seem like a goody two shoes who's going to get like good grades and everything. But 100% math is one of those. This is why I never liked math. There's no gray area. No. Like the answer is the answer. It's not like writing where it's like, oh yeah, the paragraph was good. Maybe you made a mistake, but like the writing overall is so good. It's still an A. Like math, the answer is either right or it's wrong. So you got literally every single. You should definitely be some type of like rocket scientist or something. Not on the challenge.
She didn't even get 100% on this math equation. So like,
as someone who's very good at math and has probably always gotten A's on everything in math, including stats for business when I was in grad school and everything, nobody is getting a 100 on everything. Nobody. Like, I have an uncle who has a freaking doctorate degree and he is like all like math. I don't even know what the fuck he does at his job. He's the president of some company. I don't even know what he does. He doesn't even get a 100 on everything math wise. So I'm like, girl, you are homeless and you don't even use your freaking veterinarian degree. Like, you know, she's not a vet. Can you imagine every 3 months your vet is gone for 6 months to go on a challenge? Like, she's obviously not actually a practicing vet. So it's like, sorry, dog, you have to die because Laurel's out of the country again. Like, I can't stand her. Well, if we could go one episode without Laurel bragging about herself, it would be amazing. Like, I've got a 100 on every math test I've ever taken. It's just adding and subtracting. I'm like, bitch, shut up. Like,
you're so annoying. I wish you would shut up so bad.
And then they go to Cara, and Cara's like, I hate math. I don't understand math. Like,
And I love Bananas being like, I'm just saying numbers out loud. I don't know this math
Yeah,
stuff.
he's just saying the numbers, hoping somebody works them. And then they're like, well, they've got Kylan the calculator over there. Well, Kylan the calculator didn't help you out too much now, did he?
Nope.
Like,
Nope.
Nope.
He didn't do. Oh,
The one thing about
Jerry?
Rachel having to do this by herself is like it didn't look great.
I think it's your background.
His background's making him free.
Yeah,
Fast 5 is trying to kill you right now. They're gonna run
this
you
is
over.
this is Fast and Furious, the first one. Let's at least get our fast facts here correctly.
I mean, I was like 3 when that movie came out, so
Yeah, this is an image from the first one. I actually have. The wife got me this. Like, there's the charger right there.
Oh,
There you
that's
go, everybody.
cute.
That's so sweet.
Sits on my desk.
So now I got to see what year that came out. Go ahead.
2000 and I'm terrible with
1998?
years. No, definitely. Yeah,
Oh,
I was gonna say 01, 02. Yeah,
I was 8 when it came out.
So when it comes to this challenge and the daily, at least like doing these math problems, we learned weren't as big of a detriment to Rachel once you learned like what the math problems represented, because theoretically she only needed to get like 4 correct.
Yeah,
because the math problems, however many you got correct, was how many footholds you got. In the box. So the second part of this challenge was you hang from a shipment container where they have like footholds and pegs in there, and you have to hang on as long as you possibly can. And then if you fall into the ocean. And however many math problems correct, that's how many you get to use in the challenge. So yeah, Rachel really only needed to get, since she's the only person on her team, she only needed to get 4 math problems correct. It's like, well, she only needs to use 4. It's not like she can use the other.
I think she
12.
got like 8. She got like 8, right?
6 or 8,
yeah. So she did well enough to what she needed to do for this. And then so they
Era 2 had the most because of 100% Laurel. Kylan the calculator had like, I think it was like 14, and they had like 7 people on the team. So everybody got two basically footholds and pegs. And then Era 3 did the same amount. So first up was Era 4. And immediately,
first up was Era 1.
Yeah, Rachel was.
Oh yeah. You're right. You're right. Rachel was first, and she just stood up there forever. She literally told them to go get lunch. Go get lunch.
She was up there for like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Just hanging, like just dead hangs and everything. I was like, what in the world? Especially when we see how fast everybody else starts dropping. Like,
it was insane. It was insane how low she stood up there. So she set the mark very high for everybody else. Era 4 was next, and immediately Theo goes up on the thing and he falls off right when the container opens. That's right. It goes right into the water. Everybody just dropped kind of periodically after that. Josh was cheating.
That's what I was going to say. Josh gets disqualified, though, because he was using the freaking thing to stand on.
Yeah.
Yeah, when people were dropping, everybody was like, man, how is Josh staying up there so long? He was cheating. He was standing on a little ledge underneath him. And Casey was the last member for Era 4 who was up there. And she stood up there for a while before finally dropping. She was standing on 1 foot because they only had like 2 for each person. Mm-hmm. And she finally dropped. Then I think Era 3 was next. And I think this was another case of like people almost dropping immediately. I think Naya dropped immediately. Jordan was up there for a while, even with only 1 hand, but he finally dropped. And the last person up there for the team was Devin. That was pretty impressive on his part before he finally dropped. And then for Era 2, most everybody was up there for a while, except for like Ryan. Ryan was immediately dropped almost as soon as the thing opened. Kara was the second to last.
Did too. Aviv did too.
Yeah, Kara was the second to last girl, but then she finally dropped, and then it was up to Laurel and Nehemiah. Laurel drops, and then Nehemiah was up there for a while. I think he did probably the second best outside of Rachel. as far as this competition, showing his worth for the team, and then he finally dropped. But like I said, Rachel was up there forever, and she won on her own. Finally, Era One won a challenge. Era One of one got the win in this one. So it was up to her. The losers was Era 3. So that meant Devin and Tori were immediately going into the elimination. So, man, Rachel had the perfect opportunity to just shake shit up. And she did deliver, but they had to build it up nicely throughout this episode because she had the choice of putting in, Laurel versus Tori, but then she would be betraying her good friend Ryan, and she's been friends with Ryan for over a decade now. Or she could put the Vacation Alliance against the Vacation Alliance with Vacation Alliance member Casey on Era 4 and Vacation Alliance minion, bag boy in training, Kylan as the other option to be in there with Devin and Tori. So they basically, the Vacation Alliance was depending on Josh to talk to Rachel because they had become good friends because she's been helping him with his training and his weight loss journey that he's been on, and he's in the best shape of his life pretty much as well, like we talked about Tina this season. So he goes and talks to Rachel, but Rachel basically explains like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Casey and Kylan because it works best with my strategy and what I'm trying to do. They never looked out for me. Era 4 never looked out for me when Era 1 was constantly going in time after time. So why should I look out for them right now? And Josh listened to her. He tried to talk to her, but he was like, he understood. He was like, I'm not going to try to like force her into doing this or anything. He was like, I tried my best. I talked to her. That's all I can do. So she goes into the deliberation and she listens to all the arguments. Tori makes it clear that, she would not like to go against her brother, not her sister. Her brother, Casey the Crouch. I mean,
yeah, they kept calling each other brother.
I was like, I view much of my couches as men, so that's cool. So yeah. So yeah. She didn't want to go against her brother, even though she is cool with Laurel. And yeah, they wanted Era 2 to go in, but it was going to be Era 4 no matter what. We did get a club scene after, I think it was after deliberation, where basically Rachel had an office where everybody was just filing in to make their argument. Like Kylan's like, oh, if you do this for us, we'll be on your side moving forward and stuff like that. I'm like, Kylan, you think you are a lot smarter than the way you sound. I'm sorry, sir. You're not that smart. You're not that smart. You may be Kylan the calculator, but you're not making any type of sense. So you're the calculator with that is 8,008. Which is basically boobs. So
did she say boobs? I thought she did.
That's what you are. And then Casey, you can go ahead, because I know you've been wanting to talk about this part.
I had a meltdown in our chat over Casey. Listen, to go up to someone that you don't know and be like, we have an unspoken alliance. I know we've never talked. I know we've really never talked game. But we have an unspoken alliance between us because of Josh. And Rachel's like, what? Like, Rachel is like, what the fuck is she talking? We don't have an unspoken alliance. Like, there is no alliance here. And that's like, she did not even try to talk to Rachel. She literally just brought up their unspoken alliance and was like, no, I mean, we've got this unspoken alliance. So I didn't feel like I ever needed to talk game with you because we've got this unspoken alliance. So I know you won't vote me in because of our unspoken alliance. And Rachel's like, what? Like, I mean, she is the reason they were going to get thrown in anyway, but she did not help anything. And then they blamed Josh afterwards. And I'm like, Josh and Rachel are actual friends outside of this game. Josh trains at Rachel's gym. Rachel has been helping him. You're talking about an unspoken alliance. And then Laurel, who is a much stronger player than you are, goes over and is like, I don't have an alliance with anybody. The only person I'm aligned with is Bananas. So I can have your back and I will have your back. Like, she has actually made a promise here, someone who is much stronger than you are. And you're over here talking about an unspoken alliance. Like, you could have been like, we have an unspoken alliance, but, we won't throw you in again. Like, she could have actually said something that was worthwhile instead of continuing to talk about this unspoken alliance. I'm like, what are you doing? I was sitting there watching that, and Kylan was just as bad as she was, talking in circles. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening. Then Devin didn't help the situation at all, because he's like talking shit about Rachel off to the side, and I'm like, well, now they're definitely all gonna throw in.
He never tried to smooth things over. Apparently, he didn't know that Rachel did not like him. He didn't even know.
I mean, it's Devin. You should assume everyone doesn't like you. But I like just watching. I'm just sitting there like, I don't understand what's happening right now. Like, Rachel just destroyed all of you. And you know that obviously the teams are going to be going away soon. So what are you doing? Like, why are you not actually trying to talk to her right now? That whole thing was just ridiculous, honestly. And then I talked about Tori too. Tori cracked me up this episode. And I told you guys this because we all know I'm not a Tori fan. But when she was like, we are the Vacation Alliance. Do you know what we do? We vacation. That's what we're good at. We're good at vacationing. And now we got to clock in and go to work. And that's not what we're best at. Like, I was dying laughing at her during that. It was so funny. And I will say, I thought Jordan supporting her was very nice too. When he was like, a lot of people don't understand that, like, we do still get along. And I think Tori is even a better competitor than even she realizes that she is. Like, I thought that was really nice of him to say that, because he could have just said nothing. He didn't have to say anything negative. He could have just said nothing. But he was, like, really hyping her up and all that. And I thought that was nice too. But Tori cracked me up when just the way that she said it. She was like, now we got to clock in. Like...
Clock in to work. So after it's clear, Rachel goes and lets Casey know and Kylan know that they're going into the elimination. So Devin is all upset. He's all upset that it's basically three of the members of the Vacation Alliance going into it. So they have to blame someone, they have to get mad at someone, and they're mad at Josh. Because Josh didn't do anything, and it's not about this one. It's about all the decision that he made and that he's playing both sides of the fence, and I get that part.
Yeah.
But to get mad at him for this one, that doesn't make any sense. You should have been mad the week before that when he did that to Corey. That was the time to do all of this and be like, yo, you could have stepped up and said something to protect Era 3, Era 4. We are the Vacation Alliance. You could have protected us then. That was the time to do the intervention with Josh. It's not this one. This one makes no sense, because all you're doing is, you should have been mad at Josh and Casey last week. Both of them, not just Josh. It should have been Josh and Casey not doing anything for the Vacation Alliance, because she's a fucking couch. She didn't do anything. She talked about an unspoken alliance, which basically guaranteed that they were going to get voted in. So she did nothing for you. What are you even babbling about, Devin? Devin, you've been worried about porking freaking Michelle and getting your trip to Jersey or Thailand, wherever you're going to wait for her. What are you doing?
Jersey? Did you say Jersey?
your Timu West? What the hell are you doing? What the fuck? You're complaining about Josh? Josh is the problem?
Oh my God.
Yo, like that was unreal. Me defending Josh. This is the second season of defending Josh. Why do you have me defending Josh? Because you do stupid shit. But yeah, that led into the elimination where it's Devin and Tori versus Kylan and Casey, and they're playing untangle cables and plug them into
Yeah,
outlets.
they went from fighting each other in a boxing ring to, oh, let's do household chores around here.
Once again, would like to say it is amazing Devin never gets physical eliminations. Devin,
Yes. Thumbs up. Leave a thumbs up on the video.
Devin always gets something that's more like puzzle wise, and still his performance
Yeah, we were talking about it in our group chat, but basically there's a giant platform with a bunch of, it's not like a big platform or anything, but it's a table, not any platform, a table with a bunch of tangled cords. You have to untangle all the cords and plug them into the right outlet, and then you hit the button, and then you see the logos light up.
And he means a bunch of tangled cords too.
Yeah, yeah. There's
like
over 40. There's over 40 because there's 40 outlets, but I think there's even more because like some don't even like work.
Right.
So yeah, there's at least 40 cords like all tangled up and everything. And so it's Devin. It's 1-on-1. So it's Devin against Kylan, and Kylan smartly just like rips through and goes through.
Actually untangles the wire, because Devin's theory was, oh, I don't have to untangle them. I just have to make them enough to plug them in. No, that was not what they told you to do.
Two.
I don't understand what Devin was actually thinking here.
Kylan had 38 lit up, and he had 2.
It was. And you know, we talked about this in the group chat. Like we're all parents, and I feel like half my day is just spending untangling cords for the kids. We got like a whole box of like just tangled up cords, and it's like, oh, what kind of cord do we need? Oh, we need an Apple charger. All right, let's untangle. Let's find. There you go. There's an Apple. We need a Chrome. Okay, there we go. Like that's, as a parent, that's what you spend a lot of time doing, is untangling a bunch of cords for kids. They're like, yeah, we would have killed this challenge. Devin clearly never been around kids, never had to dealt with any type of these cords.
I pay someone to do that.
Yeah, that was a good line. It's like, I pay my maid to do this.
Oh my God, Laurel laughing at Devin during this challenge.
He was awful, absolutely awful.
I mean, at the end, TJ even said, "Great job, everyone, except Devin."
Yeah. Yeah, Kylan completely wasted him in this, and then at least Tori and Casey played a little. They understood the assignment a little bit better than Devin clearly did, and it came down to at the very end. And the very end at the buzzer, they did it. Yeah, they did well with the drama on this, because it looked like the editing wise, Casey was gonna get it. And then it looked like, oh, well, maybe she had one that didn't like fully work or anything. But then they said that Tori hit the buzzer first and everything lit up first, and Tori was the winner for this one.
Very, very good one with those two, the two brothers. But Tori impressive. She eliminates Casey. We got Casey the couch up out of here. And oh my God, Rachel done shook up the challenge so much, getting out Devin, who is not only running era 3, at times he was running era 4 due to his relationship with Michelle. Get him up out of here, as well as Casey the couch. They had to get a moving crew to get her up out the house. And oh my God, she not only got her out of this season, but I don't know if I know Jeremy doesn't follow with the social media of it all. But then Casey announced on her TikTok following last week's episode, she is retiring from the challenge.
Oh,
I didn't see that. I saw that she wasn't coming to the reunion because they're all filming the reunion right now, and she didn't go.
She retired.
Go to the reunion.
She said she's retiring from reality television, or taking a sabbatical, however she wants to put it.
Well,
she's
I did see that she
to start a family with Nani.
Yeah, she said that her and Nani were wanting to have kids, and they were planning their wedding. So that I could see that. That makes sense. But I gotta say, when they gave the karma points, I was cracking up, because Devin's like, Josh, 1-0. He was so mad at Josh, and then he's like, once for everybody that's not in the Vacation Alliance. Like, he's only giving 5s to his alliance, and everybody. Rachel, 1. Like, he was.
Oh my God! Oh, the Josh crying scene too. When Casey gets eliminated. So I don't know how much she knows. How I care about her.
We all had the same reaction of like, oh, why is this bitch crying? Why is he crying? What?
Literally, all of us at different times sent to the chat, he's fucking crying again. Like, why is this happening?
The wife just messaged me, and she'd missed the last couple episodes, so her question was just, why does SP3 call her a couch? There was a big rant on this a couple episodes ago, but the general thing is she's boring, bland, offers nothing, basically just gets, in this case, sat on and used as furniture and is just there. That's it.
Your wife just sent me this.
Oh no.
A cord
yes.
box.
Yeah. We have about 3 different boxes of that in our house, and it's just like, yep, all right, let's untangle this.
I'm constantly untangling headphone cords. Like, the kids are constantly, and I'm like, how does this happen? How are you doing this? I don't understand. Like,
let's pull up real quickly the draft board and see who's gone. So we've got Casey the couch is gone. I have lost Casey.
My Rachel pick looking real good right now.
The Rachel pick is looking good. Yeah. I've lost Derek. Oh, tough week for me.
And you lost Devin.
Oh yeah.
Where's Devin? Oh, Devin. Oh man, really tough week for me.
And you lost Avery.
Well.
Oh shit.
All 4 of them were yours.
You had a Cher week. You had a Cher week.
That's not great. Well, what can you do?
All right.
For some reason I thought I had I didn't think I had all 4 of those people, but yeah, I knew I had like Derek, but I
only have 3 people left.
You have Derek. Who else?
I have Derek, Jordan, and Kara.
I mean, that's still good. I feel like we're still doing well with kind of our top picks there. Yeah. Like, I feel good. I feel good about Bananas and Laurel. And now it's going to be an individual game, as we learned at the end of this episode. Like, you still got to pick targets and everything, but it's an individual game. And Laurel and Bananas are going to continue to look out for each other. And they're still really strong players individually. So I still feel good.
So now that it's an individual game, we should do a quick ranking. Who do we think is like most likely to win to least likely to win?
Okay, most likely for the girls. Like, I hate to say it, and I'm not picking just because I have her either, because we all know I don't like her. It's very tough for me to go against Laurel. Like, Rachel has really done like fantastic the entire series, and really her whole challenge history. But Laurel's got strong allies on her team as well. Like, I think that has to be factored in, because there's going to be people who are just going to be working with other people. Like, Laurel's got a couple of strong allies. Rachel's allies aren't quite as strong. Laurel's got a bigger target. And that's where I'm like, oh, that's what could hurt her in the end, is she has a bigger target than Rachel. But it's still tough for me to pick against Laurel.
That's why I'm not picking Laurel or Rachel. I'm actually going to say most likely to win is Kara. Because since the Laurel fight, she's become a background character. And I think that's good for her, because if you think about it, most of outside of like Bloodlines or Vendetta, for a lot of Vendetta, she was in the background until late. And that's how she won that season. This kind of fits the Vendetta kind of timeline for her, where she was a main character at the beginning. Then she went into the background for a while. And then by the end, they edited her well, where she was kind of in the forefront, and that's how she became the winner. It's very much online with that type of like edit that she's gotten so far. So I would say Kara for most likely, and then it would be Rachel and Laurel. Those are the top 3, and then Jenny as like a wild card. I think Michelle. I think out of the girls left, I think Naya would be the one that I think is least likely. to win.
I think Aviv is least likely.
Yeah.
I would say,
Aviv or Olivia?
Naya. Yeah, I was gonna say Naya,
Yeah.
Aviv, and Olivia are like the three least likely, and then
Yeah.
Tori, Michelle are in that middle ground.
My pick to win is Rachel. I think that Rachel could destroy all of them. And
That's
my
fair. I
pick
mean,
for the men is honestly, I think that it will either end up being Jordan or like a Nehemiah or Theo, because I think that they're gonna get Bananas out of there now that they can do it easier. Now that it's not teams, I think Bananas will be out of there soon.
Yeah, I would say Jordan is my most likely to win on the men's side. If I had to do like a top three, I would say Jordan, Bananas, or Theo.
Jordan was my pick as well, because if we're kind of what you were saying, SP3, if we're talking about just sort of like the edit, like he's been edited sort of like well, but not as a foreground kind of player, like not overwhelming. And now as the numbers continue to dwindle down and it becomes an individual game, like Jordan's such a strong player.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would favor him. I never go against Bananas. That's why I picked him second, because he just always does well and these kind of things. But yeah, I would favor Jordan. Bananas and Theo are probably my top three. And I could even switch Bananas and Theo. Theo's had been pretty strong, like under the radar strong. He hasn't like stood out and done a whole lot, but when he has had to step up and everything, he has stepped up. And then least likely for the guys, I mean, Ryan and Derek. Now that it's an individual game as well, and they don't have Air 2 kind of protecting as much as they could, I don't see them lasting too much longer.
Yeah, I would throw Josh in there too.
Josh,
Ryan, and Derek are like the bottom, and then the middle for me would be Corey and Nehemiah.
Kylan the calculator.
Oh, Kylan the calculator. Yeah, I think he's in. Yeah, I think he's in that middle ground as well.
Yeah, he's still around. All right, we're gonna get into Love Is Blind. We have a lot on Love Is Blind because I don't think we've actually talked about this show. Because last time we talked about it,
roughly did, yeah.
Yeah, because only the first batch had been released, and you guys hadn't even seen like past a few episodes.
Right.
Has everybody seen everything when it comes to this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're not gonna. I guess we can recap basically everything here. Let's start sort of where we left off. And that
I just want to state first, I hate these people. These are the worst people. This is the worst season that they have had. These people are so unlikable. They all suck. Okay, now continue.
Okay, I wanna start with Leo, because Leo is who we were talking about last time, and he never made it to. So they showed his whole thing with I'm terrible with names.
He was
Taylor?
between Brittany and
Brittany.
Hannah.
Brittany, yes, Brittany. So they showed like the whole thing with them, and Hannah, and you guys saw it when they were in the pods of Hannah, like basically made up her mind of like, yeah, oh, here comes the wife to tell all the names. But he made up his mind, or Hannah made up her mind that she was going to go with Nick.
After her and Nick said "I love you," she basically was going into their pod date like, all right, I'm gonna break it off. She even tells Brittany, because Brittany kind of let it loose that she's the one that's also talking to Leo. And she's like, I'm gonna break it off with Leo, and Brittany got all happy. So she went into the date. Before Leo is able to talk, she tells him, I think we need to, we're gonna end things. Me and my other connection, we've expressed our feelings for one another. And this man lost his ever-loving mind.
Oh. Yeah. Yes. He went complete manipulation on her. Like, it was very manipulative when he found out about this. And yeah, he started saying, I love you. He's like, if I talk to you first, you know, would you
I want to
send
talk to you first, Hannah. I want to
Yeah.
talk to you first.
Yeah, he was like raising his voice and everything. Like it was really, really bad. And I told you guys, like, I don't like him from the jump. And even like episode 1, did not care for this guy, continued to not care for him. And Hannah was like very shook from all of this. And she ended up going back and talking, and they basically slept on it for the night. They ended up meeting again the next day. He at least had the wherewithal to apologize and is like, I know this was wrong and everything. But then he tried to spin it in a completely different direction of, oh, I'm sorry. Like, but I know I found my purse. It's Brittany. Brittany's actually my purse. I was like, you didn't say any of this yesterday. You were still trying to fight for Hannah, but now you realize like, oh, that fight is done. So now I gotta try to make good. And he even said it. He's like, can you tell Brittany that like I love her and like we ended amicably and like it was mutual. And Hannah's like, no, not gonna do that. Like that is not I got nothing to do with y'all's relationship. And like he was just the absolute worst. Hannah went back to the women's quarters and was like, yeah, here's what he said. Like, make your own decision, girl. Good luck. And Leo, of course, proposes, and Brittany says yes. And then they meet, and immediately you could just tell this ain't working here. And I love the like single confessionals of Brittany's like, oh, you know, it didn't feel how like I thought it was gonna feel. It's like, yeah, because you said yes when you didn't actually believe it. Like you just said yes to say yes to this man. There's no actual emotion between y'all two. There's no actual connection between y'all two. The thing that I found like most interesting, and it seems like a minor thing, but like, you know, anytime they meet for the first time, they see each other, there's always that bench in the like long walkway that everybody sits on this bench.
It's a wooden bench.
Yeah, and this is the first time they sat on like the woman's side of things. I was like, is this? I would question, like, is this legal? Are they allowed to do this? Can they sit over there? Like, what? I've never seen this before.
I thought that was strange.
Yeah, it was so strange. And then they were continuing to talk, and they're like, oh, we don't have to go to Mexico. I was like, no, the fuck you do have to go to Mexico. What? We need to see this shit blow up.
I was like, we need to see you and Hannah to see each other, Leo.
Yeah, we need the drama out of this. And then come to find out they did not go to Mexico. They went to Miami. They broke off their engagement. Did y'all read why they did this and everything?
No.
I heard they weren't chosen. They weren't chosen by the
So that's what like the producers said is like, oh, we can only choose like 6 couples or whatever to go to Mexico, and we can't take everybody. And I'm like, and this was the couple you decided to not take after spending the entire first batch of episodes focusing on them and their messy love triangle and love square with everything. You couldn't leave out Tim. Like Tim ain't offering a whole lot here. Like, what are you talking about? This is the couple you chose to not take? I'm like, nah, there's got to be a bigger picture at play of like, we knew this was not good and we are just going to wash our hands.
Interaction.
Yeah, it's like we got to still show them because they're pretty essential to what was going on in the pods, but we know this is going to be just completely toxic and we're not even going to open ourselves up to this because there's no way that you focus this much attention on it, specifically Leo, for those first batch of episodes and being like, yeah, we actually didn't want to choose them and take them with us. Like, nah, look, we later learned that Steven is a fucking freak show, but like beforehand with all this, you can't tell me Steven and what's her name was really,
was it Monica or something?
I think it was Monica or Marissa. I get them confused, the M's.
Monica.
But like, there's no way they were more captivating and more, reality television than Leo over here. There's just no way.
Yeah, Leo and her were crazy. And I had stated when I'd only watched the first episode, when we talked about it 2 weeks ago, I'd said like, she's so irritating. Her being on there being like, I'm trying to find a rich man. Like, she already irritated my soul anyway. He was annoying and irritating. And then he acted like a freaking crazy person. Like, which we talked about last season, Love is Blind has several lawsuits against them from previous cast members for, like, you know, the conditions that they had to live in, and then like them not intervening during abusive situations and things like that. And that kind of feels like why they didn't cast them for further there, because Leo had some very manipulative, gaslighty behavior that I was like, this feels unsafe. This does not feel like it's going to go well.
I'm gonna talk to you first, Hannah. I'm gonna talk to you first.
Oh, he was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I was like disappointed though that they did not end up going to Mexico, because I needed to see like the Leo, Hannah, Nick, Brittany like interaction.
Can't wait for the reunion.
Oh,
that would have been gold.
So
yes,
messy.
yes.
The reunion is gonna be so good.
Yeah.
So the couples that did go to Mexico were Tim and Alex, which they just trauma bond. That's what I described their whole relationship.
Tim shouldn't have been on this show.
He has way too much trauma, and he wasn't looking for a wife. He was looking for his passed away sister, his deceased sister. He was looking for that. He even gave her his gift that he gave to her was a bracelet from his deceased sister.
Yeah. The wife always says this of, do not give these personal items to these people you have literally never seen. What are we doing here? Why are you giving like a big piece of you to these people you have literally never seen and you have been talking to for a week, 2 weeks maybe? Like, what are you doing?
Listen, I love my kids. I obviously do not have any sort of engagement ring or anything like that I could pass on to them. But if I passed on a ring to either of my boys and then they gave it to someone that they met 3 days ago and haven't seen yet, I would be like, taking it back. No, you lost your privileges. Give it back to me. You're done. Because, like, you know, maybe after you've been together for a while, you want to give them that or something. You're not giving them a family heirloom 3 seconds into knowing. I would punch my son in the face if he did that. I would be like, I raised you better than this. What are you doing? Why are you on this show? First off, that's our first issue. We're going to therapy. Like, I hate everyone on this show so much. Oh my God.
Then you had Taylor and Garrett, which they're just science nerds, and that's how they connected. They have both have tattoos of science. Yeah, they are by far the best couple, and they even had issues in the last batch of episodes.
Yeah.
Then there's Nick and Hannah, which Nikki was the ladies' man, the charmer of the men's side. Hannah, they are both the youngest members of the cast, and Hannah,
Nikki, the Travis Kelce lookalike.
Nikki D, former kicker in the XFL.
My God. Former kicker. I was a kicker. I played professional football as a kicker. Like, okay, bro.
And Hannah did I will give Hannah credit. She did a great job of hiding all of her toxic traits until they saw each other. Because immediately upon seeing each other, she's immediately disappointed.
Because I liked her mostly in the
Me too. Yeah.
And then she got out and just became, and even her parents don't like her. Like,
you can tell.
Her parents are like, no, this is why you got to move out. Like, even her parents and her brother's like,
her brother was agreeing with me.
Her brother's like, you want to date me? Like, like, her parents and her brother were awesome. I loved her parents. I loved her brother. She's a terror. Like,
she's horrible.
And some of it I can understand, like not being financially stable and stuff. I don't want to marry somebody that has a bunch of issues with money. But like,
not if you don't have a job and you quit your job to come on a reality show.
You're not better than he is.
You are the pot calling the kettle black. That is literally what you are.
She so much like trauma for me because so much reminds me of my ex when it comes to nothing is going to be good enough.
Yeah, she
No
just
matter
graded everything about him.
Yeah, no matter what you do, it is not going to be. And then you get so unsure of yourself. Like there was the scene where like he's cooking pasta. Like I don't know if the man knows how to boil water or not. Like I assume.
But I really feel I get where you're going because I really feel like it was because he's been traumatized at this point.
Yeah, it was like he wanted to make sure he did this right because if he did even one single step wrong, she would have been all over him. Like, why are you doing it like that? Nope, that's completely wrong. So he's like, I just want to make sure I'm doing it the way you would want it done. And like, oh, I've been here, buddy. I completely understand what you are going through right now. Like, you just lose complete confidence in everything you do because everything you do is wrong or not the way she would have done it. And then it's like, well, okay, maybe you did it right, but it's like, well, I would have just done it differently. It's like, all right, well, I got there and it doesn't matter. No, it's still wrong because you didn't do it the way I would have done it.
She doesn't want a partner. She wants someone that she can run over the top of.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was, like triggering watching it. Like she just became a different person as soon as they met one another. And I didn't even like him in the pods. And I felt so bad for him because and I hope she gets called out for it on the reunion. I hope the girls aren't all fighting with her.
Vanessa Lachey's not going to do that.
No, but like when the girls all side with the other girls' toxic behavior, that always pisses me off so bad. Like, the only time they didn't was the last season reunion when it was that dumbass that dressed like she was like 12. That ended up with Jeremy
for a cup of coffee.
And then they have split up now. But like Sarah Lee or Sarah, whatever.
Sarah Lee, yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah Ann.
She was the only time that they've like called somebody out for their shitty behavior because most of the time they all just ignore it. And I hope that she gets called out because she is awful. Like a terrible person.
Speaking of awful people, there was Steven and Monica. But Steven, he gave us every clue. He gave us breadcrumbs to lead us to where he was going to go. He says, well, technically, I own the title of a cheater because I was in the DMs and it was intentional emotional cheating through the I DM somebody with intent. He had all these technical terms for him. He went to ancestry.com and he realized that he's 0.5, 0.3, 0.000000003 African from his dad's side. So he found out that and he's embraced his African side and he looked it up and all this stuff. And yeah, they were a couple as well. And then there was
like
Tyler.
Me saying that I'm Spanish because I have like 3% Portuguese. Like, what?
Then there was Tyler and Ashley, and Jeremy crushed my dreams on Tyler being my favorite. The last time we spoke about Love Is Blind, but hey, it eventually got on camera, so I was happy about that. About him being a secret dad with sperm babies. But he was so in love with Ashley, and it seemed all sweet and nice, and it was going all well until the last batch of episodes when he finally, 2 weeks before the wedding, let her know that he has kids. He calls them sperm babies. He then, when Ashley asks him, "Do they know how you look?" He looks up in the air and he's like, "I don't think they do." And then I've seen all the social media now where he has a whole bunch of pictures with them. The backstory, because I've been watching YouTube channels of him cheating on his former fiance with the woman who was in a lesbian relationship. He hooked up with her. They had one kid together. Then they had twins together. This was all intentionally made, and he took the fiance to the gender reveal for the first child without her knowing, saying that it was just a friend's gender reveal and not his own child.
I feel like that's asking to end up on an episode of Snapped. Because if you take me, your fiance, to a gender reveal for the child you're having with your lesbian lover, you're gonna die. Like that's the only resolution.
I feel like you should get off on that charge too. Like judge should read that, be like, you know what? Yeah, that's justified.
Give me 7 women on that jury and I'm good. Like, ain't no way. Like, I just hearing that is just like, okay. And then you went on reality TV and thought this wasn't gonna come out.
So like, I'm gonna circle real quickly back to Steven right fast. With him, you mentioned the breadcrumbs and everything. SP3. There was this scene, the fireworks scene, as I like to call it, where they're in Mexico and the fireworks are going off, and Steven is talking to Garrett and missing the fireworks, and Monica's very upset by this, and Steven's talking with Taylor and Monica, and he's like trying to explain himself, and then he veers. Like, we had to rewind like multiple times of like, how did you get here? Because he veers in a completely different way of like, oh, I was talking to Gary, blah, 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 blah. You know, there's gonna be women in our DMs like talking about sucking our dicks and everything. I was like, what? Huh?
And even Monica was like, what are you here? Like, you took a left. Where were you?
Yeah. Like, where did you, like, we had to rewind, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I get what he's saying. Like, I don't fully get it, but, like, I get, he's always talking about, like, he's probably going to be solicited in the DMs, and he's going to, you know, he's going to have to turn this down and everything. And clearly, he was not going to turn it down.
Yeah.
The best, not the best, but, like, the funniest to me is when she catches him doing all of this stuff, and he's like, I was doing a sleep study.
I did it.
A sleep test. I was at a sleep test, and he was at a sleep test, and he didn't come home last night. And apparently, he was texting one of his friends because the night before they talked about pegging and all types of other stuff, and she basically told him that I'm not gonna let you have booty sex until we're married. She's only gonna let her husband have her booty hole. And he was just like, because of that conversation, he tried to blame her. He was like, because of that conversation, that's why he messaged one of his female friends about pegging, and
because he wanted booty hole.
He wanted some booty hole.
He was like, I was doing a sleep study, I was doing a sleep test, and then he's like, but I was also drunk and all this stuff, and the wife is like,
you were doing a sleep test.
So here's my theory. Maybe this sleep study is you gotta see how you sleep after different forms of medication. You come there one night, you go there one day, everything's fine. You go there, let's see how you sleep when you're drunk. Next day, let's see how you sleep after you smoke a little weed. All right, let's see how you sleep after doing some coke.
Let's see how you sleep after you get the booty hole.
Yeah. Let's see how you sleep after butt sex. Let's see how you sleep after regular sex. You know, this is a comprehensive sleep study.
Read Louis' comment in the chat. Read Louis' comment. Put it up on the screen. Beggars can't be choosers.
I feel this is a very comprehensive sleep study, one that no one else has ever done. This is an innovative sleep study that Steven was doing.
I literally messaged y'all. I was like, holy shit, Steven is a freak.
Yeah, you said that, and then there was like 3 different scenes. I was like, was it this scene? Was it this scene? And you're like, no,
no. I was like, wait till you get to the end of episode 8.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I'm sitting there with my missus and I'm just like, oh my god, what are we watching? What are we watching anymore? This came right after they finally said the Tyler stuff, because I told her what you said about Tyler after I watched the first 3 episodes. I told her about that. She had already looked it up and she's like, nah, he's got pictures. She was like, there's TikTok videos about it. She's like, they gotta say it on there, and he says it on there. And she's like, as soon as he says, oh, there's sperm babies, my missus is just like, that's a lie. That's a lot.
So yes, we were watching it, and because we when I told you guys this of like always hiding children, the first batch you didn't know any of this, and then it came out online after he became Netflix famous and everything, and so we didn't know on the show if it was going to get brought up or not.
Yeah.
But then in the second batch, it's the very last episode of the second batch, it's where it gets brought up. It's like, oh, okay, so they do mention it. But as you were saying, SP3, the way it's brought up is he's like, oh, yeah, they're sperm babies. I don't know them. I was just trying to help my friends and everything. And I'm thinking, like, if you don't know the other part of this story, why wouldn't you just say that? Like, why, like, in the pods, if you're, like, unless you're, like, really embarrassed by it, but obviously it's going to come out at some point, but, like, why wouldn't you just say, if the story is legitimately, yeah, I help my friends with some kids. They use my sperm. Like, they don't really know me. They don't know I'm flat. Like, it is what it is. Or maybe they don't know. Like, if that's the real story, why wouldn't you just say that and put it out there? Because the lie is always going to be worse than whatever the truth.
Yes. If that's the real story, then just be like, yeah, I donated my sperm to my friends so that they could have a baby, but I'm not in their life, like, as their father.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, all right. But
maybe she's not understanding of that, and that's her prerogative. If whoever you're going to say that to, if they don't understand it, but at least it's out there, because if that is the real story, and then you find out later, hiding that looks way worse than just going out and saying it. Now we know the real story is actually, we know the real story is way worse than what he's actually hiding. But like, if the real story was just, hey, sperm donor, that's it. Like, just say that. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So these guys, this is like this. I do agree with Cher. This might be like the worst batch of people ever on a Love Is Blind season with guys with sleep tests and texting. So Monica and Steven were done after that second.
Yeah, they were done. Yep.
They were done after that whole conversation. Garrett got some cool points because it was Garrett and Taylor who were there to comfort them at the end when they had broken up. Alex and Tim, they had already showed signs in Mexico where we were getting with that whole thing.
He was checked out at Mexico. He was completely checked out when they had whatever fight they had.
What we didn't see.
Yeah. He said that, like, apparently she called him some type of name because he mentioned, like, I've never had anybody like not use my name like that. Like, so, and
she put her hand over his mouth.
Yeah. He, they kind of had the reconciliation of, like, she went to go like hug him, and he looks kind of dead-eyed anyway. He was
staring out into the distance. He was already checked out.
I told the wife, I was like, nah, he's not lasting. They're not lasting. Like, he's checked out from this moment on. And then we learned later on he was even more checked out, and then he was looking for really any reason to get out of things.
If you're already checked out in Mexico, why do all of that with the dad? Why do all of that with the dad? Oh my God. It was just like, I agree with Alex when they're doing their whole breakup talk. Like, why did you go through all of that with my father? You've been checked out since Mexico. Like,
I'd like, maybe he again like wanted to go through, wanted to try and everything, even though like viewers could even tell he was checked out. I did say to the wife, like, after they do the thing with the dad, I'm like, if he breaks up with her, if he's gonna say no, he can't go down the aisle. Like, he has to do it beforehand because he cannot do this whole thing, the dad be in front row there and say no to her. That's going to completely destroy her father. So like, if he has any doubts, if he is 1% sure he's gonna say no, he can't even go down the aisle. So I will give him a little bit of credit, not a ton, but a little bit of credit of he at least realized, like, yeah, we can't even go forward with this wedding. Like, I'm done. We gotta. And his reason was, they met his family, and she took a nap.
She took a nap.
Oh my God, no! But I will say, in support of him, she did not seem like as enthusiastic. And like, when we see people meet the parents, they come with gifts. They're very coming. Like, she didn't come with a gift. When she hugging them, she has one of her hands in her pocket, And like she didn't feel like she was really like engaging with them. And then they had their little talk with Tim and the parents, and she went upstairs because she had been busy because she's working and going back and forth, and she went to sleep. So then they meet in the house that they're staying in for the show, and he's like, I want to talk to you. And he was like, yeah, you took a nap when I was with my parents, and it's just you didn't show the same effort that I did, and we keep getting into these little disputes, and I just can't see myself saying yes to this. And like Alex is like gonna try, because she's like asked him, she was like, is there anything I can say to like fix this? And he was like, no. And I was like, and he's like, I'm glad we can agree, I never want to see you again.
Yeah.
I was like, that's escalating quickly. I was like, yo.
I laughed so hard when he ended it like that.
Mrs. Jeremy says, Alex wouldn't let Tim break up with her. He tried. In slight defense of Alex, they act like she slept for a week. Then it turns out it was like an hour while they were doing something else.
And they did 4 hours of filming. Before that.
This is why these people need to stop going on this show. Like, my God. First off, once again, if one of my sons comes home and says that they just went on Love is Blind and they want me to meet their fiance that they just met 3 days ago and met in a pod 5 days ago, I am not going to be near as like embracing as all of these parents. I'm going to be the mom that everybody's on podcast talking about how she's bitch, because that's going to be me. Because I'm going to be like, why were both of you on this show? I know you're desperate, clearly, my son, but why are you so desperate? Like, I'm not going to handle it well.
I will say this has been the one season where it's been very notable that there are some parents that aren't with it. Because Garrett, mom, even though she met Taylor, she was like crying and stuff at different weird times where I was just like, all right, something's not all right there. And then Garrett tells Taylor that his mom is not going to come to the wedding. She just doesn't agree with it, just doesn't get it or anything like that. Then we haven't even mentioned Marissa and Ramses, because they were leading in Mexico. They were kind of leading the pack as far as the best couples, because they were the first ones to have sex with each other. The sexual chemistry was there and whatnot. They were all lovey-dovey in Mexico. The issues started arising when they got back into the house, because first it's the mom. Well, first they didn't agree with the fact that Marissa used to be in the Army or Marines, and he doesn't believe in that because he's Venezuelan and he feels like the U.S. kind of service has always been, bad to them. So if she did go back into the service, he would just break it up. He would just divorce her and whatnot. And that's such a big part of who she is. So that was an issue right there. And I was just like, I don't know. That's a kind of a big thing to be on different sides of the ball.
That probably should have been something you should have talked about.
Yeah. It definitely should have been something they talked about in the pods. Then they met the mom, who's, oh my God, this is the most savage mom. She told this man, if you break my daughter's heart, I'm gonna cut your dick off. And she tells him, she's like, she was with the brothers and sisters, and brothers and sisters like, yeah, you're the boyfriend or significant other of our sister that we like the most. He was like, well, I don't really know you, so I can't even say that. You seem all right, but I don't believe in the sanctimony of marriage. I've been divorced a couple of times, so I'm not into all of that and everything. And then I was just like, all right, this mom is way too harsh. And then Ramses started opening his mouth when they were at the apartment. I was like, the mom, she saw something that I did. Thank you, Mom.
That would be
because Ramses, they had talked about having kids and they want to wait like 4 to 5 years. But she's saying that she gets sick, so she can't go on birth control. So she's like, so if I can't go on birth control, you have to wear a condom. And he's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have condom sex. Is condom sex pleasurable to you? Because I need the sex to be pleasurable. And then she's on her time of the month and is not like affectionate to him. And he's worried. He's like, is this how it's gonna always be? Because I was like, oh, I hate this guy now.
I wanted to stab him. I was so irritated. Idiot.
Yeah, he did not help himself with
No.
any of this. And like, if they have kids, like, look, buddy, you're gonna be out. You're gonna be out of commission for a little while. Okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to accept that one. So you gotta figure this out. Yeah, maybe they figured it out later. I don't know with them. I'm not sure.
I'm very unsure with them.
I don't see them lasting long term, just because of the sex stuff. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a big, like you said, if she has a baby, she's going to be out of commission for a while. He seems like the type of guy who would like ask the doctor to give her like the extra husband stitch and everything to like make her tighter afterwards. Like he just, I'm just not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah. Let's do kind of our predictions here, since the weddings are tomorrow. The final episodes are.
Well, the final one that we didn't mention broke up was Hannah and Nick. Because
they did just break up. Yeah.
Hannah introduces Nick to her friends because he was great with the parents and the little brother, great with her brother and stuff. But when she met the friends, this came after they did the little meetup with all the people from the pod.
The mixer. She was super fucking protective and weird over the mixer.
First of all, she dragged him through the mud. That whole conversation on camera with Ashley, saying that he don't want to go down on her. Oh my God. I was like, you couldn't have this conversation off camera? If you really want to marry this man, you do not need to make him look this way. You don't have to.
Well, maybe he's scared that she's going to yell at him and tell him he's not doing it.
100%. 100%. He's going to do one thing wrong and she's like, nope, this person did this better. Like, why? This is what you need to do. And like, fine, sexual guidance is needed. You like what you like, and sometimes you got to point your partner in that direction. But she would definitely not do it in a kind and understanding way.
No, not at all.
Then he had a very nice conversation with Katie, which was the other girl he was talking to.
Her best friend, by the way. Her best friend. I don't know if you know this. Her best friend, Katie.
10 days ago. That's her best friend in the world. She met 10 days ago. Even though she would then introduce him to her other best friends in the world that she's actually known for a few years. But that's besides the point. Her best friend in the world, Katie, they had their little conversation with one another, and that went well, where she kind of gave him like constructive criticism that he comes off immature and that he should lead with his heart and with his family and stuff. There was a little flirtation there, but nothing like egregious that we've seen in past mixers.
Yeah, it was, and I didn't think it was like from Nick as much, because Hannah kept saying like, "Oh, Katie came up to me like 3 times and told me like you were so cute and everything." Nick's like, "Okay, what do you want me to do about that?"
Yeah,
like that got nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
but apparently that was a big deal to Hannah, where she's like, "I made you from a boy to a man, and you're gonna do this to me with my best friend in the world." He's like, "What did I do?" And once he started hitting her back with some stuff, and she was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna deflect. Why does my feet look so weird?
I think
I'm ready to go to bed." She was talking about everything except for the conversation that they would have had, but Nick was saucy, and he was like, "Nah, we staying on this. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?"
See, I think she liked that. I think she liked that he finally just kind of like stood up for himself, essentially, and was like, "Oh, okay, you actually are gonna talk to me in this way." And then in a way she liked it, because she's like, "Oh, you look hot without your shirt on." Like, okay, let's go to bed type of thing. But also she realized maybe she was probably drunk. They all at those mixers, that's all they do is drink. But she realized, she was probably in the wrong. But him just being like, "Please explain to me how I was flirting. Like, you didn't hear the conversation. Like, you have no idea what we're talking. We just had a conversation. If you think I was flirting, like, that's on you. That's not on me, because all I was doing was just talking, just having a conversation." Like,
and she's a very, like King Potato said, she's a very insecure person. Like, and you could tell she's got a whole bunch of insecurities that she's then trying to put on him. She's trying to put her insecurities on him. That's why money and everything is such a big deal, because she don't got no job. She's Tommy Ford from fucking Martin. She ain't got no job, and you up here talking about other people.
I will say, like, I definitely think that a lot of her stuff is based in the insecurities and everything, like you said. Like, that's pretty obvious. But she feels like I'm in these groups on Facebook where it's like the "Are we dating the same guy" groups, because it's hilarious, like the drama and stuff in them. And there's women who will get on there who really don't have any, like, haven't caught their husband cheating or anything like that, but they want to test them. And they'll be like, can someone on here message my husband and flirt with him so I can test him and see if he'll flirt back? And it's like, why are you trying to cause issues? Like, why are you trying to put them in a situation like that? I don't understand. And Hannah feels like the type of girl who would do that, who would send her friends over to compliment him and flirt with him to see if he's going to flirt back. Like, it always rubs me the wrong way when I see those, because it's like, why not just confront your spouse? Like, if they're not abusive or whatever, why not just say something? Because I see those all the time of girls being like, hey, sorry, I thought I heard somebody outside. Hey, I need somebody to text my husband, or, you know, comment on my husband's Instagram or whatever to see if he'll message you back. Like, I see those all the time on there, and I'm always like, do you want to be upset? Like, are you trying to break your own heart? I don't understand. Why are you, if they haven't done anything prior, why are you trying to, like, put them in a situation to force something to happen? And she definitely gives off that energy of like, I'm going to set you up and catch you in this.
Well, this was not a setup and catch. At least we don't think.
No.
But well, not with Hannah and Katie. That applies. But the one couple we haven't fully mentioned was Taylor and Garrett, and they seem strong throughout until just before the mixer, where we find out Garrett, an ex texted him, and then his story changed of when he talked to Taylor.
I just like the comment. The comment.
Yeah, when he talked to Taylor, he's like, oh, I just like the comment. And Taylor's like, well, why didn't bless you? And Taylor is like, well, why didn't you say like, hey, I'm engaged, like, piss off? And he's like, oh, okay, like, sorry, like, let's just go have fun at the mixer. And it was like, all right, well, they seem like they might be fine. Then they're sitting at the table, and then Garrett's like, yeah, my ex texted me, and I was like, don't text me, I'm engaged. And Taylor's sitting right there, and then Taylor's like, wait, you just said you liked the comment. Why?
Yeah, you didn't tell me you replied. Like,
yeah. And I'm like, oh, he's dumb. He's just dumb. Like, dude, just stay with your story, which I believe is probably he just liked the comment. And I don't know how his brain is working, but sometimes you like a comment, it's a dismissive thing of like, hey, like, I acknowledge, I see what you're saying. I'm not actually going to respond, but I'm going to let you know I see this comment. Please don't contact me again. I'll contact you if we need to talk or anything. And he thought that was better than just like outright ignoring, but he didn't think of being like, hey, I'm engaged. He was just like, move on, never think about it again. Yeah. But then you just stick with that story and not say, because I feel like he was just trying to make himself look good in front of Taylor, of like, oh yeah, I see, because this is what she wanted him to say. And now he's like, this is what I said. And she's like, wait, why did your story change here? What are we doing here? So that was about their only like rough patch. Otherwise, they seem pretty solid.
Yeah, they've been the best couple, like, by a country mile. So after that mixer thing, Hannah introduced Nick to her friends, and they basically were still arguing about the night prior, and that Nick flirted with the girl when they were in Mexico, when he's riding the fake duck, and he does it with the grandma.
That was again an insecure thing, because like he was like, oh, I'm gonna go ride this duck, and she's like, okay, this is dumb, you look dumb, like, whatever, go have fun. And then this old lady comes over and like it wants to do it and everything, and it's like, all right, they're just having fun. And then, you know, the lady's like, oh, she jealous, and Nick's just like laughing. It's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, oh, she's not jealous. Like, don't say that about a fiance. It's like, yeah, just probably just gonna laugh.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, harmless. It was so harmless. But like the friends are like, yeah, I wouldn't like that either. I wouldn't like that either.
She over exaggerated it so much. Like, not only to the friends,
the story
but
kept changing with her. The story
Yeah.
got bigger and bigger every time she told it to a different person.
She's like, oh, he was flirting with this girl, and she was like, oh, your girlfriend, that bitch, she's jealous. Like, I'm pretty sure those words were never used. Like, she was like laughing. It was like, oh, haha, you're jealous type of thing, and like they're just both just kind of laughing. It seemed very harmless. Of like, he likes to do fun thing. Oh, the part where she's like, I'm so fun, Nick. Everyone knows I'm so fun, and you make me not like, bitch, that is your choice. Okay,
that is you.
This is your choice to not be fun.
And this was another instance of this person gave us breadcrumbs of what they were going to do, because in the pods, what happened? The other girls in the pods were like, Nikki D's a smooth talker. He's a ladies' man. So that made Hannah go back and be like, hey, I want to break it off. And then she immediately thought about it when Brittany says she's also talking to Leo. Then she's like, oh no, I want Nikki D to come back for a date. So literally her bad mouthing Nikki D in front of her real life friends, and her real life friends being like, yeah, we don't like him because you literally badmouth him the whole entire time you met him. Them saying they don't like him made her go, okay, I'm done. I just needed someone else to say it. And even when she's explaining this to her mom rolled her eyes so bad. Oh my God. Her mom was just like, okay, I really wanted to go get the dress, but fuck me, I guess. So
mom's like, oh, is Nick single now? What are we doing? We can go do all this stuff. Okay, let's go.
So she calls Nick to the house just to badmouth him on camera. Because she tells Nick through text that she's not gonna go dress shopping. He shouldn't go suit shopping. That he should come back to the house and they talk it out. And he's like, so what are we gonna say? Because I've been abused too much. I've been verbally abused too much. If this is over, I just want to be over with it. And she's like trying to make him look bad when they're talking on camera, like, oh, you're just worried about how you're gonna look and whatnot and all this and whatnot. Yeah. And it's just like, no, you have verbally abused him for now 3 fucking straight weeks. I would be the same way. I would be like, can we just break up through text? Like, I don't need to do it on
right.
I did not like her. I liked her in the pods. Once they got out of the pods, like, oh no, this person, not a
oh my God. When she said, so what do you pay for?
Oh yeah.
What do you pay for?
Yeah.
Are they breaking up or is he on a job interview? Like,
right. She was just looking to just continue, like you were saying, like continue to criticize him about anything and everything. And he is just like, yeah, I've heard all this. We're clearly breaking up. Just go ahead and say what the hell you need to say so I can leave. Like, can we just be done with this? All right. So, all right, let's go through of who is still standing and may or may not get married here. We can start with, I mean, there's only three couples, right? Couples. Yeah. Only 3 couples are going down the aisle because Hannah and Nick broke up mid-season. Monica and Steven broke up mid-season. Alex and Tim broke up mid-season. And we can throw Leo and Brittany in there where they broke up in the on their vacation. So of the 7 couples that got engaged, we're down to 3.
Yeah.
3. And
that goes to show just how this that goes to show how this season has gone, though. 7 couples got engaged. Only 3 are just making it to the aisle. Like, not even like, oh, maybe one says no or something. Like, we're only getting 3 just going down the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett and Taylor, I feel like they are the strongest. I think their drawbacks could be she wants to move. I don't know if he's fully sold on that as much as he sort of leaves on.
He's thinking about the spear fishing. He's like, I can do a lot of stuff. I think they both say yes. This is the only. I think spoiler alert. I think this is the only yes for all of these 3 couples.
What do you think, Hannah?
I agree. I think it's the only yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Ashley and Tyler, I think it's a no, but I also think she might be, if it is a yes for both, once everything comes out, it's going to be a quick change of heart. Like I feel like someone has got to warn her beforehand of like, hey, here's the real information, and then she can make up her mind. Because I feel like she might be naive enough to just believe the story right now and be like, okay, I'll say yes. But then once everything comes out, it's done. It's done.
I think that this is going to be the craziest twist where Tyler says no.
Okay.
I think Ashley is not going to know everything by the time she walks down the aisle, but Tyler will feel guilty that she doesn't know everything, and he's going to be the one that says no.
Okay. Obviously, you think it's a no,
fair.
Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
And Marissa and Ramses, I hope it's a no, and I hope the mother like murders everyone, just red wedding style, you know,
just cuts his dick off. Pulls out a knife out of a bag and
just done.
Cuts the dick off. Yeah, I think Marissa says no for that.
I think Marissa says no. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think it's a no.
Says no.
Yeah, I think it's more Marissa than Ramses. I do think he has a big hang up with the military stuff that he won't get over, though.
I hope she says no, honestly.
Yeah. All right, so we got the finale tomorrow. We'll talk about that next week. King Potato, we did talk about the girl who fell asleep, and we both we kind of mentioned that he was checked out like in Mexico, and he was looking for any reason to get out of that, and he finally just kind of found one. So we went through like kind of sped run, but we also spent like almost 45 minutes talking about the entire season up until this point. Cher Delaware, anything to plug?
No.
SP3, anything to plug?
Twitter machine is here, True Hill SP3. I'll be live in about just over an hour with Romeo to review last night's Monday Night Raw. The best paced 2-hour Monday Night Raw so far. Not saying much, but it was better paced than the last 2 weeks. So check us out over there at the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Go over and subscribe to that. And I believe I have a Sports Illustrated article. One of them is out, so go check that out as well.
There you go. All right, everybody. We'll be back next week talking about first week in the NBA, talking about the Love is Blind season finale, and whatever happens on the challenge this week as well. Talk to y'all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.